Jesus tells to the Pharisees and the Sadducees to remind them that just following the Ten Commandments, going on the Word without acting upon it, was not enough to guarantee not only our salvation, but a life with God the way that He intended. You see, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, religious leaders at the time, were convinced that all they had to do was listen to these words and say them, repeat them, but there was no interior movement. There was no going outward. There was no living life with God in mind. It was a strictly habitual act. I remember in my life growing up, when I was around 10 years old, my dad started to take us to do a bunch of ministries with him. And at the time, I thought that only following the Ten Commandments and praying before going to bed and being nice to my siblings every once in a while was enough for me to be a good Catholic boy. So I said, okay, I'm okay with the bare minimum. Why is my dad asking us to do all of these extra things? He'd take us to go feed the homeless. He'd take us to take communion to the sick. He'd also invite us to be part of funeral services that he and my mom would help out in. And at the time, I didn't understand the value of it. I said, why are we doing all these things? I thought just doing the bare minimum was enough. Just doing these, following the Ten Commandments, praying, going to Mass on Sunday. I thought I was doing way more than all my friends. Why do I have to do more? So one day I got the courage to ask my dad, why do we do all these things? I'm tired of wasting my Saturdays. And he said, David, look, if I did the same thing with you as your father, the bare minimum, I fed you and provided a roof, but I did not care for you when you were sad or afraid. If you fell and cut your knee, if I didn't put a Band-Aid on you, if I didn't show up to any of your performances, any of the things in school, I'd be a terrible father. You wouldn't say, you're a good dad. You'd say, you never are part of my life. In the same way, me just following the Ten Commandments was not enough. It was something that was a good starting point. But God invites us deeper. He invites us to participate with Him. Jesus encourages us and invites us into His life of restoring justice, of taking care of our brothers and sisters in need, in caring for the widow, the orphan, the abandoned, for those who have no name. We look in the first reading, God says He is compassionate, for He cares for all the cries of those who need help, who are in need of assistance. When we take care of our brothers and sisters in need, when we extend the loving hand of Jesus Christ to one another, we are answering their prayers. God is answering their prayers through us. We are participating with God. As we approach the Eucharist today, let's take a few moments to reflect on how we can better give our lives to God, how we can better go further than just the bare minimum, but start to really be transformed by the Eucharist. May the Eucharist lead us out into the world and share the loving face of Jesus Christ to all in need. And as we also approach the Eucharist, let us take a few moments to be thankful, to ask God to give us a spirit of generosity and gratefulness so that we can really love the Lord with all our heart, our soul, and mind, and love our neighbor as ourselves. This is a supernatural task, and it's a radical invitation to holiness, and God wants that for us more than anything.